Hello everybody, welcome to the group chat with Footy Accumulators and Betfair. Perry and McInally here. It sounds like a solicitor's, doesn't it? We should start our own company. You can answer the phone. Al, good to see you, mate. Look, what a week for you boys. What a week for Scotland. Serbia against Scotland, the playoff final on Wednesday, Thursday night, tonight.
Yep, Thursday night.
I mean, huge game. Still find it amazing every time I talk to you that Scotland haven't been to a major tournament since Colin Hendry led them out, against Brazil, France 98. And this is the first time that you've been one game away from getting to a tournament. But look, I know you've got lots of injuries and so on, but Scotland are in a good place in terms of form, aren't they?
We're in a really good place. Stevie Clarke's done a wonderful job. I think for the first time, actually, in a long time, I think there's a little bit more optimism, although the game's obviously really tough and it's obviously in Serbia. I think there's a lot of people secretly thinking that Scotland can go and turn them over. You're right. We have a couple of players that are going to be missing that has really hurt us. But, there'll be a lot of, international teams saying exactly the same because of the COVID situation. That's just something we have to deal with. And hopefully Lyndon Dykes will have his shooting boots on. Marshall will have a great goal and a great day in goal. And the likes of McTominay and Robertson and McGinn and Jack can just have one of those nights. It'll be a great game. It'll be tight. It'll be really tight. I do think that Serbia are under a certain amount more pressure than we are for the simple reason it's there and they're expected to beat us. And that just might play in our favour a little bit. And as much as I'm like, oh God, please let us win this. I'm looking forward to it. I hope the lads are as well, that they play with a bit of freedom and say, look, we give it our best shot. You come off this pitch and you say, you give it our best shot, nobody will point a finger at you.
Are you actually not going to watch it? Are the nerves that bad?
No, I'm all right. I was only teasing you. I'll watch the build-up. I'll watch the whole shooting match. I'll change the team. I'll do everything that I would think if I was involved with it, etc., etc. And wish that I could speak to the lads before they go out to remind them about, their jobs. But listen, Clarkie's got that all covered. And with a bit of luck on our side as well. Because let's face it, you're better being lucky than good. And let's hope luck is shining on us.
I can't believe that it's the longest unbeaten run since '76. It's your days.
Yeah, we were 1990. In fact, when we qualified for Italy, we played Norway at Hampden, and we were winning 1-0. And Erland Jonsson, because I know Erland because I played with him, scored from about 45 yards to make it 1-1. And everybody was like, "Oh my God, hang on a minute, game's not over." And literally, they put the ball in the thing, we blew the whistle and we qualified. And then obviously we don't qualify for a while and we get to 98. And since then, Scotland's international team hasn't just been good enough. And let's hope this mob are.
Is that what it's been down to? Because I was going to ask you that. I mean, you've had chances where you've come close. I know that game against Italy in 2007 that you lost 2-1, I think. But, is it the whole infrastructure and that now that's changed and that they are in a good place and they can be, even if they don't make it against Serbia, they're going to be in a position to get to major tournaments now?
Yeah, I think that's right, Will. There is no question that the parameters of Scottish players coming down to England as often as they were because they were high-quality players, because they could cope with pressure, because they could play at a higher level, disappeared for 15, 20, literally 15, 20 years. Apart from the lads that are there now, if you looked 4 or 5 years ago and you looked at, Celtic and Rangers and Dundee United and Aberdeen and St Mirren and Motherwell, etc., you wouldn't be many you'd be taken. And also, with the influx of foreign players, I don't think that's helped Scottish football very much. And that's just the way it is. That's modern day football. So Scotland have had to galvanise the FA, get them into a position where we're trying to teach the kids the right thing, and hopefully when they are spotted and they become good enough, they eventually get to the top level. Because it's always nice for an international manager, after all, if you're picking a player that already plays in one of the top leagues. And that for Stevie Clarke and his predecessors hasn't been the case. But I've got to say, we've got a few now playing in the Premiership, and let's hope that international, or rather that experience as they take it into an international game, really counts. And, like I say, we've got McGinn, who's one of Villa's best players. We've got McTominay, who is hugely experienced playing with brilliant players at Manchester United. And. So we're in a good place. We're in a good place. And you will be my first text at 10:30 on Thursday night with my kilt on and whiskey and haggis and whatever else.
Just the kilt will do. Just the picture of you and just the kilt.
It's a bit of a fingers crossed.
Yeah, I mean, the head and the heart probably saying two different things, and amazing to think that someone like Andy Robertson was only 4 years old at the last time that Scotland got to a major tournament in '98.
Yeah.
You know, crazy. Right, let's talk about England now, because England have got some big games. Obviously, the game against Belgium in the Nations League for this squad. They're playing the Republic of Ireland for the first time in a long time in a friendly, and then Iceland as well next week. Firstly, want your thoughts out on Jude Bellingham, right? We've talked about him before on the group chat, haven't we? 17 years old, got an amazing move, didn't he, to Borussia Dortmund, following in the footsteps of Jadon Sancho. He's already played 11 times as well this season. He's played in the Champions League, and they seem to love him, those Dortmund fans, even though they haven't seen him in the flesh in that sense. But there's been some words that it kind of belittles the value of an England call-up, of an England cap. What are your thoughts? Does he deserve it?
Oh, well, you can't say he deserves it. I think that you go too far on that. Having said that, Borussia Dortmund are well known in taking some of the best talent in Europe, which has been proven already, with Haaland and with Sancho and with Jude, obviously. I saw him a couple of times when he was at Birmingham. I mean, he did okay. I mean, I didn't think he was ever a particular standout. But he's done well since he's gone to Dortmund. He seems to have settled in a little bit. Mum drives him to training every morning, which is a nice touch. When you take your man, she can drive you to training and wait for you. And he scored a goal. I think he scored on his debut. So, listen, things are going the right way. But to deserve, it's hard to say deserves, considering you played 8 games at Borussia Dortmund and that's it. I think that Gareth has taken the opportunity to get him into the squad, because there's no question, if he keeps going the way he's going, he will be an England international football player. They might be shoehorning him in a little bit early, but, it's Gareth's prerogative. We'll take him in. I don't think he'll take any part in any of the games, to be quite honest with you, but just to be involved in the squad, then, he'll realise what it's like to be an international football player, which, no questions, is another step up from where he is at the moment.
Yeah, he had the dream start, didn't he? You're right. He scored on his debut. I think it was against Duisburg in the German Cup. And then, he has been playing. He has been featuring. He would be, Al, if he plays for England, the third youngest player to play for England. Can you name the other two? Put you on the spot. Who are the two youngest?
Well, Rooney.
Yeah. And under Sven took him to a World Cup.
Oh, it was Walcott.
Your man, Theo Walcott. So Walcott was 17 years and 75 days, really? And he's the youngest still to this day. And Wayne Rooney, 17 years, 111 days. Bellingham, 17, 137. Just last thing on Bellingham, if the Euros are tomorrow, does he get in your squad?
No, not yet. No, I think England are strong in the position that he will want to play. And it's just a little bit early for him. But in 2 years' time, if he keeps going the way he's going, he'll be bigger, he'll be stronger, he'll be better. I think he'll probably be a shoe-in then.
Yeah. Right. So on that note, should we pick our teams? Let's be Gareth Southgate, right? And we're going to pick our England teams for the Euros next year. If you were going to, have to pick today, forget injuries and so on. Everyone's fit, but on kind of form the way everyone is at the moment. Let's start. We'll go through it position by position. So in goal, I'm sorry, Mr. Pickford, but I'm going for Nick Pope. What about you?
Oh my God.
We're on the same page already. I like it.
I nearly put Henderson in genuinely, but I think the fact that Nick has played all the games and he simply hasn't let anybody down in any of the games that I've seen him.
But Pickford, to be fair, hasn't in an England shirt let Gareth down. He has had some questions in that Everton kit, but for England, he's been pretty solid, hasn't he?
No, you're right. And Gareth actually pinpointed that Jordan has let nobody down with England. But there's still a doubt in my mind that he's absolutely top level. I had a bit of a go at him sort of a couple of last Saturdays ago when somebody kicked, was it Michael Keane kicked Harry Maguire when all he has to do is catch it.
Yeah.
It hits his hand, it drops on the ground, the ball's live. Just catch it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was poor decision by him. And as long as he doesn't do that with England, then you never know. Gareth might stick with him. I just think Nick Pope deserves his opportunity. He'll probably play in the next couple of games. It's
an interesting one, isn't it? Just on Pickford, because his form is more erratic for Everton. And what is that down to? It's kind of, he's more composed when he's playing for England. He's a better goalkeeper when he's playing for England. And why can't he then take that back to his club form and be consistently non-erratic?
Yeah, exactly. it's a toughie, genuine. I can't, having not been a goalkeeper, but knowing lots of goalkeepers, that, you know, the more, and it's not a lackadaisical attitude, but like, this is going to be easy. Just maybe his concentration is so much higher with England, as though he must think, too easy Everton for me. I've got no concurrence here. Doesn't matter how I play, I'm going to be in the team. But now that's not the case now, of course, with Everton having a better goalkeeper alongside him. So he certainly hasn't done anything wrong in an England strip. It's just that the cloud for me is still over him on his overall performances with club and country. In terms of, I would just give Nick Pope an opportunity. I think he's a very good goalkeeper.
Do you know, it's a really interesting chat though, actually, with Pickford, because he, to me, reminds me a little bit of Joe Hart. And look, as a City fan, I absolutely love Joe Hart, and we all did. But then obviously, you know, towards the end, you know, he was forced out by Pep, and then, you know, had the stint at Torino and Burnley and West Ham and wherever, you know, now he's back at Spurs, or he's at Spurs. But he always played with his adrenaline. And I don't know if you can do that as a goalkeeper. If you think of the best goalkeepers that we've I'm just springing to mind, you know, Oliver Kahn, David Seaman. These guys were so calm and composed. You know, you never saw them pumped up and playing to the crowd and sticking their tongues out. Whatever. I mean, I don't think you can do that as a goalkeeper, can you?
Not really. And the ones you've mentioned, some of them are not in the game for 20 minutes, and it's all about their concentration level, concentration level, and making the right decisions. I mean, quite simply making the right decisions, and they did that more often. At the moment in time, Jordan's made a couple of, you know, decisions. Even he's thinking, "Oh, don't do that, Jordan. Whatever you do." And listen, he'll have another little spell where he'll be rock solid. That's for sure. And listen, it's such a specialised position that eventually even the best make mistakes.
Yeah,
that's just the nature of the beast as a goalkeeper. But you know, when we're picking our team, I think Nick Pope deserves the opportunity, because I think he's been fantastic.
Yeah, we're both going for Pope, even though Burnley is second bottom. But, you know, Pope was right in the mix for the Golden Glove last season, wasn't he? I think just looking at the Premier League table, he's already conceded 12 this season in the 7 games. But, you know, we all know what Burnley will do. They'll be 10th when they buy Christmas. Right, so my back four, okay? I'm going to give you my back four, and then we'll see what yours says. I'm going to go for, and this is a tough one because I know you like Reece James, but I've got to go for Trent at right back, okay? Then my left back, Ben Chilwell. I think we might be on the same page with those two. My 2 centre backs, okay? Connor Cody. So I'm leaving out Joe Gomez, and I'm going to put Maguire in. I think Cody can compose Maguire. Those two together as a back four. You know, you've got someone who can bring the ball out, and then you've got that, you know, that Cody 60-yard diagonals as well, which will add a different dimension. So Trent, Cody, Maguire, Chilwell. What's yours?
I've gone Chilwell at full back, left side. I've gone Reece James for right, because I think he's good and he gets forward. Because the way I want to play, I'm going to play a diamond, which means my full backs must be coming forward. Otherwise, I'll play someone else. Having said that, Trent Alexander-Arnold, my goodness, he gets forward, doesn't he? So I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot there by making a point. I just think Reece James has done well. I'm going to go Maguire, because he's still the best defender England have got. I don't care what anybody says about him. Give him a rest. What a lot of rubbish that is. He's been absolutely brilliant with Manchester United. And incidentally, against Everton, he was outstanding. Yeah. But beside him, I'm going to play Michael Keane.
Okay.
Because I think Harry can speak to Michael and make sure he does the right thing, which is defend. And I don't need Michael Keane to play a $70,000 pass in. I'll get Maguire to do that, or someone in front of him on my 2 fullbacks. So my 2 centre-halves, I want them defending. I don't need them to be Beckenbauer, because I've got other players in the team that will organise things. And the first thing and foremost, if you're a defender, you're a defender, and I want to make sure you defend properly, which means balls into the box. Michael's good at that, and he's also good at free kicks and corners in our favour, and that's why I've put him in. So I'll go Chilwell, Maguire, Keane, and Reece James.
Okay, so there we go. So we've got a back 5. You're playing a diamond. I'm playing a 4-3-3. I'm playing a kind of Liverpool, Manchester City formation. I don't think England will ever play the same way as those two, but wishful thinking. And I'm going for a sitter in that 3. My midfield 3, Declan Rice is going to be the sitter for me. So Jordan Henderson misses out. And then the 2 others in that midfield 3, Grealish and Maddison. What have you got in the middle?
I've got, so my diamond, so I've got my back 4, and I've got Declan Rice in front. I've got James Ward-Prowse on the left here.
Yeah.
because he's just terrific and
Yeah.
he can do whatever he wants, not a problem. But I've kept Jordan Henderson in the team because he's a leader in the middle of the park and he's a mouth. You need a mouth. You need a reminder. You need someone pulling the strings. You need to become, and he can play there, by the way. So in other words, I'm going to go Rice, Ward-Prowse, Henderson, and at the top of the diamond, Harry Kane, because he can play in that number 10 role.
Okay, so you're not playing Kane right up top. Interesting, right?
No,
So then,
because you don't need to play Kane there. You don't need
No.
to. He'll be. I think he'll be even better to the team playing in that position, and he'll always be involved because he's a better football player than people give him credit for.
No, I agree, and I think even in that Tottenham team, he, arguably he is such a conundrum, and it certainly was under Pochettino, wasn't it? Because he actually is not the best player for the system that they were playing, and he slows down Spurs, but he's exceptional in that 10 role. And you look even this season, those 60-yard sort of like no-look blind passes to Son from the centre circle, so he's certainly effective there, but not obviously the quickest. So my front three then, so in front of Grealish, Maddison and Rice, I've gone for Rashford, Kane and Sterling. Kane spearheading, Rashford on the left, Sterling on the right.
It's a good team, but you're not beating me.
Go on, what have you got right up top?
Well, I've gone for Jack Grealish on the left-hand side because it means he can do whatever he wants. He has to be disciplined, though, because I want him to stay on the left-hand side. I want him to stay on this side. Up top, the best goal scorer for me is Marcus Rashford, because he's just so good as a young player. And then you've got a chance of winning something.
I mean, it's a good squad. It's a good England squad when everyone's fit. And obviously the ones that stand out there that people at home might be screaming at the computer saying, well, hold on, you haven't got Phil in there. Neither of you got Mason Greenwood in there. None of you got Dominic Calvert-Lewin. No Mason Mount. That is a good, solid squad that Gareth Southgate's got. And he likes to play Eric Dyer at the back as a centre back. Let us pick the England team. Let the Scotsmen pick the England team, because both those teams sound more exciting than what we've seen over the last 6 months.
Well, the problem is you're right, and you're talking about Gomez hasn't got in my team either, actually. And especially Phil Foden. I really twixt in between about who. Remember, the way I want to play, I've got players in position I think can play that position. Mount has done so well, and it's genuinely difficult. And by the way, what a position for Gareth Southgate to be in. It really is an abundance of a real good talent. And I think England are going to be in a position where, I think they're going to cause a lot of problems for a lot of international teams. They've got some wonderful, wonderful young football players as well as a bit of experience in there.
Yeah, so we'll talk about Joe Gomez and that injury in a second and what that means for Liverpool. But 3 guys to miss out on this England squad. Ross Barkley, who's been sensational. I thought he was absolutely brilliant in Villa's last game. I thought he was absolutely superb and just frees up Grealish. And that is a signing already that you think, Dean Smith's got to be making permanent in January. What a loan signing. He's come to life. But yeah, him, Ross Barkley, James Maddison and Harvey Barnes all missing out of this squad. 3 guys that have been, I know Maddison's been coming back from injury, but 3 guys that have been on it recently.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Harvey Barnes, I think, was on the bench the other day when Leicester won 1-0, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So he's not really getting in that team. It's a toughie, but yeah, why not? Funnily enough, I'm glad you mentioned Ross Barkley, because obviously he's at my team, Aston Villa. And I was thinking about playing Kane up top and Barkley is that top of the diamond. But then I would have had to play Rashford on the right-hand side and not Jadon Sancho, and I think Rashford is better up top. So, again, we're talking about the luxuries that England have. You're right, Barkley's been brilliant. It's a wonderful result against Arsenal, and he was one of the main factors that Villa got the result. Him and Grealish have been excellent. They obviously have a good rapport with each other. They look to play each other in as well as everybody else, and it's been pretty good. The Maddison one, he just needs to get fit. He's got a little bit about him that I think Grealish has got. The only thing is, where do you play James Maddison? You tell me what you think his best position is.
Well, I mean, he's the 10, isn't he? That's his best position.
Exactly.
I mean,
so we've now got, I'm saying Kane is the best number 10 England have got because he can play that position. We're saying Barkley's so good. We're saying Maddison can play the 10. It's a toughie to squeeze him in, and you're right. Listen, they're all really good players. And we'll just have to see who's available. But it's quite good to actually try to pick a team like that. Good.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a problem England have had over the last 20 years in terms of an abundance of 10s that could all arguably start there. But there we go.
Exactly.
And look, there'll be loads of Leicester fans watching going, well, how is Harvey Barnes not getting in? I know he was on the bench last time out, but he's played 12 times this season for Brendan Rodgers' side. He's scored 3 goals, a couple of them in Europe, one in the Prem as well. Again, that's someone that you'd imagine will be right on the edge of going to the Euros next season.
And he goes forward, Will. He doesn't go sideways. Yeah. You watch him; he's very direct. He's nice and positive.
Yeah, he's got an engine on him, hasn't he? And he drives into that box. And when you think, what is he? He's 20, 22 years old, still growing. He's a big lad. He's kind of got a rugby physique, isn't he? Could have played for the Leicester Tigers probably. But he's definitely got some gas on him. Look, from Liverpool's point of view, they must have been watching the news, watching the telly, looking at their phones, going, "Are you kidding me?" Nice. Joe Gomez. Injured in training. Gareth Southgate saying that he was in a lot of pain. We still don't know the outcome of that injury, but it's a knee injury, and he has had knee injuries before. And just at a time when Liverpool have obviously lost Virgil van Dijk, Fabinho's still out. He's been playing centre back. I know Joel Matip's come back in now, but their main centre backs are out, and now to lose Gomez as well, which means you're probably looking at Nat Phillips coming in again. Or someone like that into that Premier League side. I mean, it's just considering they didn't have hardly any injuries last season. They've had the big dollop of it, haven't they, this year?
It's a killer. It's an absolute killer. And even although the best defender in the world is not available for Liverpool, at least Joe Gomez, you're thinking, well, he's played with Van Dijk. He'll speak to Van Dijk before the games. He'll still be getting coached, etc., etc. Liverpool are still in a good position. And then he gets injured. And then you're down to the bare bones, and I mean genuinely the bare bones. And I've already said, I heard someone saying the other day, Liverpool will have to go into the market. They'll have to go in anyway. Not because Gomez is injured, they'll have to go into the market anyway, but in January. But it really is. I mean, and you're talking about, Will, genuinely, for me anyway, although Liverpool can outscore you, you're talking about Liverpool being even money to win the title to drift into 2s because they don't have those players available. It's huge. And he'll know the problem we've got. And he's going to have to rely on some young players that hopefully, grow up in about 20 minutes in the Premiership, because that's what we're going to have to do. It's a terrible situation that Liverpool have found themselves in, considering last year they were relatively injury-free and they showed the world how good a team they are. And then you get a couple of injuries and the thing goes, bang, stop. Problems for them for sure.
I mean, when you look at the table now, you've got Leicester and Tottenham above Liverpool, but it's still early days, isn't it? With some teams only playing 7, like Manchester City, the rest on 8. But if, say, and look, we do not want this at all, but if Gomez is out long term, say even until the end of the season, and they're missing Van Dijk for the season, they're 2 starting centre backs from the title-winning campaign. Does that even give the likes of Chelsea and Tottenham and Arsenal a chance at being up with Liverpool? How far does that take Liverpool off top spot, do you think?
Yeah, it brings them right back into the pack. Right back into the pack. Because all of a sudden, you're going to play Liverpool at Anfield or having them visit your ground, whatever. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. And the parameters have changed so much that it's a level playing field almost. And if you can get at the back 4, back 5, whatever Klopp decides to play, they're not as strong. It's as simple as that. It doesn't matter who you take out your team. If one of your best players or 2 of your best players are not available, then you can bring in whoever you want, unless you've got such an abundance of talent. You're bringing like for like, and Liverpool are not doing that at the moment. They're not doing that at the moment in the back line that they've got. The only good thing is, of course, they keep the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper's excellent, and he will inject a little, confidence in whoever comes in. But it's just going to be such a difficult position for Liverpool. I'm looking forward to. By the way, I hope Gomez is all right. But what we're hearing is he's not all right. But it'll be interesting to see how Liverpool get on in the next month and the results they get, Will, to see just how much it really has upset that equilibrium that they had so wonderfully last year.
Mr. McInally, it's ACCA time, our favourite time of the week. We always get these right, don't we? So, look, I'll tell you what, this week we're going to pick from the Nations League games on Saturday night, and in particular the 7:45 kickoffs. And we're going to go for a fourfold. Sam Rosbottom from Betfair's with us. There are only 4 games, Sam. And we're going to get them all right. And it's going to start with Germany beating Ukraine and Spain to win in Switzerland. I'll leave the 2 tricky ones for Al to pick. But what do you make of those 2, Sam?
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. 2 really hot teams in Germany and Spain. Spain are going through a bit of a transition at the minute, and Germany have obviously got this really young, fantastic squad. Really interesting to see how they do in the Euros next year. Just looking at these matches, Germany are the favourites at 3-10. The draw is 9-2, and Ukraine are 17-2. Switzerland against Spain. Switzerland 10-3. The draw 5-2, and Spain the favourites at 20-23. So going with 2 favourites there, but I don't blame you.
Okay, so Al, that leaves the tricky ones for you, mate, which is going to be, you've got Sweden against Croatia, and you've got Portugal against France. I mean, Portugal-France is such an exciting game. We'll leave that one till the end. What do you fancy out of Sweden and Croatia?
Yeah, it's a toughie going to Sweden, to be fair, but I think Croatia will get some wonderful football players. So I think there won't be an awful lot in it. I'm going to go Croatia, though, for the simple reason I think they've got better players and better attacking options. And I think they'll outscore Sweden. I think both teams will score, but I think Croatia will outscore Sweden, and I'll go for them, even though the game is obviously in Sweden. The Portugal-France game, I mean, seriously, I actually watched it. Well, Portugal beat Andorra 7-0, and of course, who gets the goals? He's back in amongst them, Ronaldo. France were beaten by Finland 2-0, I think it was. Having said that, Spain, we'll just really quickly go back to the Spain-Switzerland game. They actually played really well against Belgium. I saw part of the game. Having said that, Spain might be a different proposition, and maybe that Belgium gave a few players a rest. Portugal-France. Right, I'll go for Croatia, and what I'll do is, Sam, I'll give everything to Sam. Sam can get. I mean, to be fair, I would sit on the fence. I think a point probably does both of them, but it's no good going for a draw, is it? So
they're both on 10 points, Sam, aren't they? They're both 10 points, and they're both on 1 game, which is against each other.
Just looking at the group, they are on the same points. So you could argue that a draw would suit both teams in this one. I think it's going to be one of those games, isn't it? Everybody wants to watch this match. It's going to be one of them, isn't it?
Are Portugal favourites because they're at home?
So 7-5 Portugal, 9-4 the draw, and 21-10 France. So there's not a lot in it.
I mean, Ronaldo against Mbappe as well. What a treat that is for everyone. So go on. What's the answer? We're going Portugal, Sam, are we? We've got to have a winner. We can't go for a draw.
Yeah.
We'll go for Portugal.
Come on, get in there. What's that coming out as?
Looking at that at the minute, that's coming just over 15-1, but I'm sure we can get that boosted with wins for Croatia, Spain, Germany, and Portugal in that mouth-watering tie on Saturday night.
Sam, you know why he's asked you to go for one or the other, because it means that if you get it wrong,
it's on me.
Get his right. Yeah, exactly.
It's all on me.
Fingers crossed. I quite like that. I might, in between the Masters, I'll probably be watching a bit of Portugal-France.
Yeah, look forward to that. Sam, thanks for joining us, mate.
Yeah, nice one, fellas.
Right, there we go, Al. We're all singing Flower of Scotland with you tonight. Go on, are they going to do it? Are they going to do it, Al? You love to dream. We love to see it.
Yeah, we're going to do it. But, I mean, you know what I'm like. I mean, I think I'm the best golfer in the world, the best tennis player in the world, the best everything in the world. And if you don't go with a wee bit of confidence in yourself, you have no chance. So let's hope they go in with the kind of confidence that they've carried. Like you quite rightly said, Will, Scotland are in a better position than they've been for the last 2 years. Confidence is high. We're in a little bit of a run, and Stevie Clarke seems to be the right man for the job. Let's hope, and fingers crossed, that we can manage to do it. It'll be a great game. It'll be a fantastic game. I just hope, obviously, that we come out on top. That'll be good.
And who have you got to win the Masters, just so we can see if you're right next week?
I've gone Patrick Cantley, John Rahm, and Rory. Gone for 3.
Rory.
Got to go for Rory. I mean, he only needs that for the Grand Slam, and he's been so close. And I don't know, maybe I think it might be his turn. He's been good round there, and then he's known he's made a few mistakes. But that's another thing we've got to look forward to the next 3 or 4 days. The Masters in November. Surely Tiger, not again. Surely.
I'll watch that documentary. That's brilliant. That one on Sky back, and there's a new HBO one coming out tonight. So looking forward to that. There we go then. Scotland to beat Serbia and to make the Euros. Rory to win the Masters. Me and McInally will be back with you next week. See you guys later.
Thanks, Will.